The hardest thing for me was getting out of that low rut price point and getting up to something where I could actually sustain myself. I don't think a photo booth company honestly could exist.
You want to invest in XX dollars to learn how to do whatever with software or learn a concept in business. I never understood it.
It's not the external factors that really grow your business and ultimately your profits. It's really...
Let's get real about the photo booth business. This is the Photobooth CEO podcast. We're here to cut the fluff and give you the straight talk on helping you book more clients and make more money. Joining us today are two industry titans. We've got Lap, a seasoned pro from LA, and Jason, a Vegas photo booth wizard. Together, they've got over 2 decades of experience cranking out bookings and creating memories. And if you haven't checked out their YouTube channel, ProBooth Talk, you're missing out. These guys are going to drop some serious knowledge on everything from getting started, niching down, scaling up. So buckle down, grab a pen, and let's dive in.
Lat and Jason, thank you for being on our podcast today. If you can you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves and what you guys are up to?
Yeah, my name's Jason. I have a photo booth company in Las Vegas called Smash Booth. We started in 2013. We're in our 11th year right now. In the first several years, we were doing what most people do, the general weddings and just your basic photo booths. In about late 2018, we started expanding out to more services and started doing more of a national reach, which is still pretty small because Vegas has so many events. It's really easy for us to keep busy in our local market, but we do service national events, I'd say, 7 to 10 times a year or something like that. So not a lot. That's us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lap. I own a company out in LA. It's called LX Picks. I started, it's very sketchy where I started just because I started as a hobbyist DIY. I want to say 2010, 2011. So it's been about 13 years or so. I'm the same as Jason. We did very in the box type photo booths. And then in the last few years, we've branched out to offer very custom and very unique type services outside of just what you get with basic strips.
Awesome. Well, and then I know you guys are, getting into the education and community building space. Are you able to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So when I first started, I love podcasts and I love education. Obviously, when we're building a new company, we're going to be looking for any education we can get. It was very limited back then, so I decided to start the very first photo booth podcast just so that I could have that title. Even though I was pretty green myself still, I was just kind of talking about my journey, I guess. And I started it with the idea of having a co-host that was completely out of the industry so they can ask questions because it was very targeted to brand new owners. So I wanted questions that someone that had never touched the industry would have. And we went with that for a while, and that co-host eventually wasn't able to continue on. So I invited Clay Moore to join me, and we kind of changed the format to a kind of just bantering about different subjects. At some point, Clay's life didn't allow him to participate any longer. So I decided to just kind of hang things up for a bit. I went to school, but I just have this need to, I don't know. I've always felt like you should either be learning or you should be teaching. Those are the two areas of your life that you should be. If you feel like you've learned, then you should be sharing that knowledge with other people. I've had that personal need to share knowledge, and I've been taking notes through the few years that we were on a hiatus. And then I was planning a comeback actually through TikTok, and Lap and I ended up on this, a handful of photo boothers got together to go on a cruise, and Lap and I were both on this cruise. And I was discussing with her my ideas to just move it to TikTok, and she let me know that wasn't the right direction to go, and I should continue doing podcasts, and suggested that she wanted to do it with me. And I thought that was a great idea. We've been friends for years in the industry. I know that she is also very passionate about just freely giving information out, just from seeing her in the forums and whatnot, without judging people and whatnot. And that's exactly what I was looking for. So I jumped on the opportunity for her to join me, and that's where I am.
That's an amazing story. Thank you, Jason. So real quick, there was a photo booth cruise. What's that like? What was that?
It was amazing. It was Monica in Atlanta kind of put it together for just a handful. I think it ended up being 50 different companies, or maybe 50. Yeah, I think it was about 50 companies, something like that. She could clarify. And, typically, we all go to PBX and we learn a lot there, but we always tell everyone, like, the biggest thing that you're going to learn is just like when you're out networking and hanging out and having cocktails with people, like the knowledge that you're getting from other boothers is so invaluable. So she took that information and decided to just make an event out of it. And she took the helm along with a few other people I don't want to discount. I think George and I think Sonny. There's a few people got together and organized this cruise with that exact goal to eliminate all like structured education, but like let's get together and hang and just talk shop. And it was really successful. It was a lot of fun. Some people brought their families, some people just brought their wives, some people just brought themselves. And we had structured like dinners together every night, but otherwise, you could do your own thing. And for those people that have gone on cruises, typically for me, it's just like kind of bouncing around the ship, finding things to do. But it was really unique because like anywhere I went on the ship, there was a face that I knew and recognized and had something intimately in common with in our business life. So anywhere you went for a drink or wanted to play cards or anywhere, there was someone to talk shop with, and it was a really great experience.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm going to bring it back to the photo booth business. So you guys are basically like OGs in the industry. I feel like, that's a long time, and it's great to have that amount of information and experience. So I guess for you guys, when you guys were first starting out, what were some like of the initial challenges you had when, maybe going into year 1 and year 2 for you guys?
For me, the biggest challenge of starting out was obviously getting jobs that were willing to, like, I started off on Groupon. I think a lot of people back then may have done. I don't even know if Groupon's still a thing, but it was really hard because, you had to be on Groupon, you had to offer, I think, 50% off. So if you said your price was $500, the most you could take was $250. So it was really difficult, but you could book several jobs out. Like you could do like a collective Groupon push and sell like 50 jobs and have that money come in. But then, then you have to actually perform for a very low dollar amount. And it made things very difficult. It was probably more of a hindrance than anything to overcome. But the hardest thing for me was getting out of that low rut price point and getting up to something where I could actually sustain myself and pay. I don't think a photo booth company honestly could exist under $500. And it was actually very difficult for me to get to that $500 point. Lap, what can you add to that?
Whew. The biggest challenge for me was I kept trying to find shortcuts to everything. Like there was very few manufactured photo booths back in those days, but there were some select ones, but they were, now they're super affordable compared to what they were years ago. Like you're hitting like near 5 digits for photo booths back then. And I couldn't see myself investing in anything. Like I know like Alien Bees is like the go-to in our industry. I could not see myself putting out, $450 on. At the time, that was a whole lot of money to me. And I kept trying to like find the cheapest solution to everything. And that just really created such a sluggish start for me, because instead of like investing and growing, I was just investing on having to go back and figure out like how I was doing things. So it really slowed me down compared to everybody else. Like I think in the last 4 years I've caught up, but I really had to push hard to catch up to I know Jason, you've been in it in 2013, but I know I was behind you because I was so busy just trying to find the cheapest way to do anything, building my own photo booths. And it was just horrible. Like invest in yourself, invest in your business. You'll get there faster and a lot less heartache and a less mess.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I really love what you said about, just being able to really invest in yourself, because that's what it is, right? It's not the external factors that really grow your business and ultimately your profits. It's really what you plan to invest in yourself. I really love how you said that. As far as you guys, when starting out and then eventually gaining traction and really having a feel of how the photo booth industry works, like what were some strategies that you implemented that helped differentiate your company from the competition?
For me, I feel like I can pinpoint, a couple things. One is structure. Structure seems to be my superpower. Sometimes it's a hindrance because I get too involved in it, but having a great structure so that everything, is the same every time, everything's automated or not automated, maybe not always automated, but always you always have systems to make sure that you're always delivering the same product consistently, you're responding the same way consistently to everybody. So that was big for us. And also like setting ourselves apart with our branding. Sometimes people may feel it's a little hokey, but we adopted like a red bowler hat very early on, and I feel that really helped us in particular, because when we would go to events, planners and venues and DJs and photographers, they would, there's so many photo booth companies out there and they all look exactly the same. They all blend in. But with our signature red bowler hats, people just started saying, hey, I saw you at this event 2 days ago or last week, or I see you guys everywhere. In reality, they're seeing everybody everywhere, but we're only remembering that they saw us, and that was important to our initial growth, I think, and still is.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I really love that, Jason. How about you, Lap?
For me, it was once I sat down and had some structure. So I was one of those people who, like, if someone called me on a weekday where I was a little bit slower, I would be more open to like haggling on pricing, $25 less. Okay, let's go ahead and do it because I'm not doing anything anymore this weekend or this week. Once I had structure, that helped me with the same thing as Jason, like how you answer to each inquiry. There's no back and forth on pricing. Like your price is the same no matter if you talk to customer A, B, or C. That really helped me. And then the other thing was changing like my mindset. So I know I talk a lot about when I had a mindset of like a DIYer, always trying to be a budget provider. Everything that I invested in the beginning, I always thought of it as a loss. Like I'm putting out $50. I'm losing $100. I'm losing $2,000 on this photo booth. When I changed like how I saw that, like this $2,000 photo booth it's gonna be an investment that's gonna make me so much more. Once I saw it as like, you're not throwing away money, you're actually investing and you're gonna make money from that investment. Education, the same thing. That was a struggle for me in the beginning because I did not understand. There's a lot you don't know because we wear so many hats. In the beginning, if someone told me, you want to invest in XX dollars to learn how to do whatever with software or learn a concept in business, I never understood it. But now I see it really does. That's the best way to shortcut your business to have it grow. Like investing in education, equipment, R&D. I don't see it as a waste of money anymore because you'll always earn that back.
Right. That's so good. It's definitely a story that's common to those that have been doing it well in the photo booth industry. For you, Lap, I want to dig a little bit deeper. When you mentioned, when you had a different mindset, how did that actually start to change? Like what caused you to just really, shift? I know we get a lot of content on like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, but like, what was it for you that really allowed you to just have that shift that this is what I'm going to do?
When I had somebody in our industry that was like, Lap, you have to get I don't know if it was the Alien V or Digi-V. I think it was a transition. And I thought to myself, this is insane. I cannot see myself drop. I mean, it's not a lot now when you see the grand scheme of it. But back in the day, I thought, $500 for a flash when you can get like a newer for like $80. I like that was mind-boggling. And when I started pushing towards like cleaner booths, investing in, higher cost booths and the equipment that we're putting out there, nothing in our output really changed, but just like the perception of what you put there. Like a lot of people in our industry would be like, oh, wow, that looks like Lap's photo booth. That looks like your clean setup. Or people would like set me as the bar on setup shots for other companies. And that's when you realize like nobody's telling you this stuff, but they're seeing it. That was really the moment where I thought like, you know what, you cannot take those shortcuts, even if it's a savings of like $25. Like it's in the grand scheme of things, it's just your brand will be better when you invest in your business. So that cemented it in for me. And I forgot to mention for another reason, another point where I turned the corner was when I started niching down. I don't think people stress that enough. Like when you're providing services that is exactly like every other photo booth. We talk about this in our props. Like if everybody has props and you have props, you literally look like your neighbor and the thousands of other photo booth providers. Nothing wrong with props, but if you pull props from your services, nothing else can be different besides the fact that you don't have props, but that makes you stand out for that specific look and aesthetic. So niching down to like how you look, what type of services you provide, that really made that was Jason, I feel like the same with you, right? Like that catapulted you out from like the rest of the competition.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of putting the focus on the engagement and things that people can't easily replicate. Like we still use props personally. I know that Lap doesn't, and we have nothing against props certainly, but when somebody says people know me by my props so I can't quit, like that's what sets us apart from other companies. Well, I mean, the thing that's setting you apart from other companies will literally cost me what, $100, $200. Like if there's a barrier of $200 for any company to be just like you, then how apart from the rest of the industry are you really? So having a bunch of props, maybe if there are a bunch of very unique props like full costumes or something that is truly different from what everybody else is doing, but $200 isn't going to set anyone apart from the rest of the industry. Really honing down on lighting or staff engagement, these things, or else very specified setups that are very, different from what the rest of the industry or your market is doing locally. If it's all photo lounges with no props, then maybe that market is really great to go back to the basics and do, a fun prop-based photo booth. But if everyone's doing prop-based photo booths that are, your basic open air, then maybe you should look at the minimalist open air lounges that to set you apart from what everyone else is doing.
Like, don't be afraid to go left when everybody's going right.
That's good. Yeah, not being afraid to just really stand out and be different. Let me drill down a little bit on that. For you, Jason, in particular, for your personal experience, how did you begin to choose your niche that you knew you needed to go to? And why did you choose that? And how did you actually execute on niching down?
Well, for me, the biggest thing that separates us is the charade of innovation and great staff. Like I'm not really that innovative, but everyone in my local market thinks I am, because everyone in my local market doesn't see the national level of I'm like a lot of the stuff that I'm bringing to my market, I'm not inventing. I'm just copying what other people are doing. I see great ideas that other people are doing, and I'm bringing them to, I'm making my own version of it, but it's the first version that people in our local market has seen. So they see it as very innovative. So I certainly try to stay ahead of the trends, but also we put so much work and effort into having a super awesome, engaging staff, and it is the biggest part of what we do, because it ensures everyone has an amazing event. It promotes your reviews. Your clients are going to love it. Your other vendors are going to love it. Your wedding planners are going to love it. You're going to have a more positive staff and people sticking around longer. So that was the biggest thing. And honestly, what I did to, as far as niching down, is just following what people liked, and people are leaving reviews and giving me feedback. What people are telling me they loved about us, I just focused on that and kept honing down into that niche. And that was always an amazing team and amazing response rates, things like that. So that's what I put my focus on. And as far as, I guess I can't remember the third part of your question. I think maybe I answered all your question. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you definitely did, Jake. Thank you so much. Yeah, for sure. And it sounds like you really do have a great, way you handle your team and your staff. And I hope we can definitely dive into that. How about for you, Lap? For you personally, how did you kind of process what niche you should be diving into? And then why did you choose that? And then how did you kind of execute on that for yourself personally?
I think several years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, glam had not been widespread. I think there was just a very small handful of companies that started doing glam. So I was doing glam 5, 6, 7 years ago, and we really embraced that. We did other photo booth services. We did light painting. We did, the standard photo booth, 4x6 strips, GIFs. We did all the basic stuff. But on our social medias and when we communicated with clients, we always pushed the glam, and that really, I feel gave me the advantage in the early years. Now I really pick and choose 2 or 3 services that I'm really in love with, and I talk to all of my clients about it, so that, I really try to have services that are unique. And I personally love the services that are unique. So when I talk to clientele and inquiries that reach out to me, I push for those, not necessarily because they're niche, but they are. But it makes me memorable. I mean, we talk about how when you're doing a show or you're sponsoring an event, you have to be showcasing services that nobody else has. So that really is how we get our niche services out there. People remember us for it. We don't book a lot of them all the time. I mean, I want to say like 80% of the services that we book are going to be standard photo booth services, but just clients knowing that you can provide stuff that's outside of the box. They know who to call when they need something unique.
Yeah,
custom.
On that same note, we have a wedding show coming up Saturday, and we're focusing explicitly on what Lap is saying there. Like we've got a big area, and we're doing 3 things. We're doing the magazine box, again, not new, but kind of pretty new to our local market, but there's people out there doing it. We're doing like a lounge portrait, like with furniture and stuff. Again, not new. Lap specializes in things like that, but we've never really done it before. And we're doing like a magnet booth, and none of these are inherently like brand new concepts, but I promise every other photo booth company that's at the show will just be having a box of props and a backdrop, and that's it. So we want to say, yeah, of course we can do that, but this is what they can't do. Like this, we want to show you while you're here that we can do the things that other people can't do. But of course, yeah, if you want a box of props and a 8-foot backdrop, we can do that too.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really good. Yeah, I totally agree with you. These are not, new things, new inventions. It's just, you're doing something different that other photo booth owners might not be doing, whether it's they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the, just the push to want to try and do something new. And that definitely can allow you to stand out amongst, leads and clients for sure. For you guys personally, what do you say is like your most booked type of clients? Do you primarily feel like a lot of your clients are like wedding, corporate, maybe graduations, or I guess what do you feel is your primary niche of clients for you guys?
So for us personally, we offer services to pretty much everyone, but we are still very heavily influenced by the wedding industry. About 70% of our bookings are social events, and almost all of those, I can't remember the stats right now, but like 85 or 90% of those are weddings. And I mean, I live in the wedding capital of the world, so it's definitely not. I know a lot of people try to move away from weddings and into corporate at some point, but there's just so many weddings here that I just can't ignore them. And then that other percentage, of course, is like marketing events, like corporate events and things like that, expos for us.
How about you, Lab? In your area?
Oh man, so I've been through the gutter and back. So when I first started, I was doing backyard parties, quinces, sweet 16s, birthday parties, and weddings. And then as the years progressed and I cleaned up our setup, we moved primarily into weddings. I never did corporate until maybe 2020, which is really interesting. I never had the intent of moving to corporate. I have 2 kids, so I always saw corporate as being a lot more involved with getting on conference calls and things like that. So I never had that. I know the money is there. That's what you hear a lot of providers that will talk to you about. There's definitely money in corporate, but for my personal life, I did not see that for myself. But in 2020, I revamped my website with the help of somebody in the industry, and they designed it to be a lot more minimalist, a lot more modern, and it attracted so much more corporate. So we actually moved the needle from primarily marketing to weddings. Now we primarily do corporate. We don't do too many social events anymore. We get just a handful throughout the year now. So it's been a drastic change since when.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree. I think I'm along with you guys as well. I feel like a lot of us, when we're first starting out, primarily because of our pricing and our marketing, we're kind of doing the birthday parties, the baby showers, the quinces and things like that. And then as you kind of progress and you kind of work on your marketing, your website, just your overall processes overall, I feel like just higher end clients tend to be attracted to you, right? So I feel like that's definitely great motivation for those that feel like they're kind of, stuck in that area and they want to kind of get into the higher ends. A lot of it is, working on your business, honestly. And it's like a fruit of what you put into it, and just the everyday pushing forward with improving things like systems and teams and reviews and things like that. That's awesome. And I find myself really finding my story with Lap, where I was primarily focusing on weddings as well. It just seemed like the easiest. Like I feel like in 2016, 2017, corporate was asking for a lot of custom stuff. right? They would ask for like custom this and custom that and custom wraps. And it's just like, when weddings was just like same thing over and over, right? They just want a nice template, dress nice, and, they could kind of just knock them out and bang them out. And I agree, like only until like about maybe 2020, 2021 was when I feel like corporate clients have changed. I think what it is, like they kind of want different stuff now. And so they're okay with not so much custom stuff, and they just want like the tech, right? The tech, like the wow factor of the experience, like the activation experience and of a photo booth engagement. And so I feel like it's kind of like a both ways. Like we've also adapted where we see the corporate clients wanting what we have with not so much customization, and maybe some, but corporate clients just willing to spend on it.
I'd say like 90% of our corporate work is customized with custom everything, like from vinyl wraps to just about everything. I think it just, again, comes down to how you market it. And that's something like when we're marketing or we're giving a proposal to a expo, like we're sending that proposal with everything fully branded so they have that visualization, and that's typically what they book. But we start with the customization, and if the price point's too high, then we pull it back. So almost all of our corporate work is customized.
For sure. And I feel too, like just kind of chiming in, like the market probably has a lot to do with it as well. Like kind of what Lap was saying, that it's like kind of like a convention capital. Like a lot of businesses are moving through there. And then I feel like Hawaii, we do have conventions, but they're bringing in people from destinations. They're not really exactly marketing to businesses that are local here. So I feel like maybe they might pay attention a little bit more to the experience and less of the branding, I guess. And so I guess maybe that's why I see it. But also to your note, I'm not actually offering, like I'm not showing, wraps on my website or anything like that. And I just personally, don't want to opt for that. But yeah, and it just comes down to like what you show on your website is what people will buy. I think the most customization we do is print designs, and then have like a monitor, like a screen on the back of our booth where we could customize like a video or something, but that's it. Same with 360, just maybe PNG templates. Awesome, guys. Okay, I guess for you guys, what would you say would be, I guess, the biggest resource you would recommend to newer or beginning photo booth business owners?
ProBooth Talk.
ProBooth Talk. Everybody, you got to jump on that. I'm definitely going to link it in the description. Like, definitely check them out. They have a wonderful, heart to want to be able to share and give back. And so definitely check them out, guys. Yeah, ProBooth Talk for sure. What else do you guys feel that would be amazing resources? Again, for like the people who are just, they just bought their booth, or they're trying to figure things out. And where would you recommend they kind of get it?
Definitely the Facebook groups, but I mean, there's a lot of talk right now about those groups being angry places. And really, I mean, you just need to learn how to approach them, I guess. Like if you just go in and ask, like, what's the best software? Like you should always come in from a position of, hey, I'm a new company. I've been testing these 3 softwares. These are some of the issues I'm having with it. Can anyone give me feedback? So if you're coming in and saying, I'm actually working on things, I'm trying things myself and not just looking for free information, then you'll have a much better response. And also the search feature, like these networks have been around for 10, 11, 12 years, and there's whatever question you have, not only has it been asked, but it's been answered extensively by people with various opinions in the way they do things several times over the years. Like that information is there, especially like just use the search bar. You can find so many answers, so many solutions to so many issues that even if you think you have a new concept, I can almost guarantee 7 years ago it was a trend that people were doing and the discussion was there. But really, like, find your community of people that are in the same spot as you and learning together, and a couple people that you can lean on that are ahead of you or where you want to go, and almost like separate yourself from the groups so that message them on Facebook or whatever, and you'll get a lot more response, or a lot stronger or better responses from a small community than a massive community. You'll lose when the community, I feel, gets too large. just like a big city, you have the higher crime rates because people are detached. Like in small towns, everyone knows each other. And it's kind of the same thing with the community. Like people don't have, it's a lot easier for people to be angry or rude to each other because they don't know each other. And if you ask a question, it's probably going to be 10 posts down within an hour. Where if you either join or create a smaller group or community, everyone knows each other, everyone's supporting each other, everyone's propping each other up, and it's much more valuable than the larger groups.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jason. Thank you. So definitely ProBooth Talk, guys. I'm going to link it down in the description. And then, jumping in the Facebook group using the search function just to cut it. There's just free information available. And then, just really, taking the time to build relationships. How about for you, Lap? What are some, what is a resource you recommend for people there?
I have to jump on the search bar just because something that Jason doesn't mention is what's nice about folks that you find old answers is you can actually reach out to that person that left that post for something that you're looking for more information on. Maybe they didn't answer the question, but that person has delivered that service. So that is such a great resource because you can connect with that person based on just that post. So that's worked tremendously for me. I also recommend, it has so many free classes for photography 101. When I say that to people, I don't ever want to be offending anybody, but you have to understand that we are in a photography based business industry, and you should at least you don't have to be a photographer, you don't have to be an expert at off-camera lighting or anything like that, but you should at least know the basics and core concepts of lighting and camera settings. And it's not even, if you don't care if your photos are good or not, you should at least care if you're able to get photos that are not white or black or with a black bar. Just core basics will help you avoid those types of issues during your event. It'll save you from having a heart attack. So I would recommend that. And then of course, invest in a CRM, invest in the companies that do templates. If you don't know anything about designing, there's Canva, there's so many resources for, getting started with no experience. Photoshop, if you can learn it. I learned Photoshop after I started in the industry. It took me 6 months. I learned step by step, but now there's Canva and that's so easy. You're a little bit limited, but you have those resources. You have companies like Clay's company, you have Cherie. I should know these company names. I'm sorry, you guys, but they'll save you time. And sometimes, yeah, is it? Well, yeah. So one of the things that you should think about is it's not always about that $25 or $50 or $100 that you're saving. You have to think about the grand scheme of you're saving time, which you can invest in other parts of your business to grow parts of your business. Instead of spending 2 hours figuring out how to work Photoshop, you could pay someone and you could spend that 2 hours doing something a lot more productive for your company. So Canva, CRMs, get yourself a CRM if you're new.
On the same note of Facebook groups, definitely pay attention to the smaller specific groups. If you're using Darkroom Booth, definitely join the Darkroom Booth group and don't ask Darkroom questions in Photobooth Network or Photobooth Community. Go ask them in the Darkroom group. Those people intimately know that software and they're definitely very happy to help. There's some very aggressive teachers in there that really want to teach people Darkroom Booth, and same thing with Snappic and any other softwares. Internally, besides Facebook groups, my internal office staff, they need to be in the Facebook groups. The person that sets up events is definitely a member of all the darkroom groups and things like that. But we also subscribe to Photobooth Marketing, and our salespeople tune into that every week for their Zoom call. They also have a lot of resources, you can watch any of their past Zoom calls and things like that. And as well, we subscribe to something called Skillshare, which is a phenomenal service that has video lessons on everything from Photoshop to photography to design, whatever you want. There's courses and educational videos in there. I can't remember what it costs, but it's pretty nominal. But Skillshare is also a very useful tool that we use.
Yeah. I know, guys, we were talking earlier about, just the difference of how it was when we first started and what resources are available versus what's available now in 2024. And I feel what you guys provided just now in the last few minutes is just extremely valuable. I'll go ahead and link down the items that they talked about, the Facebook groups, their podcasts, YouTube channels, some photography videos, and then, some Skillshare items. We'll definitely provide those resources, but just this information alone is so key and so valuable. I guess last question for you guys is, where can we find you guys when we want to find more of Lap and Jason?
Definitely join our Facebook community for ProBooth Talk. It's called ProBooth Talk Community. Jump in there. We release shows a little bit a day earlier there. We also, anytime we're going to have a guest host on, like an industry, someone that an expert in a field, like a SEO expert or something like that, we always post that a few weeks ahead of time to gather the group's feedback, what kind of questions, what they want to know about, so you can kind of contribute that way over there. Personally, my name is Jason Whaley. You can send me a friend request or message me anytime if you have specific sales questions. Our sales director is Shannon. You could email her at shannon@smashbooth.net, and she's always more than happy to give her insights on sales or networking or anything like that. Everybody here is very open and helpful, so please reach out.
I feel like I would skirt this question. I mean, you guys can always reach out to me through my Facebook Messenger. I don't know how responsive I am, just because, like I said, I have two.
Well, if you want Lap to respond, just message her at 2 a.m. Otherwise, you're not going to hear from her.
That's very true. I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions whenever I can, but don't be mad if I don't respond. It's not anything personal. It's just I have 2 kids, so I feel like that's the excuse, you guys. But
no, and it's the same for us. Send me a message, but it may be a minute till I respond. I've got a lot going on as well, and don't be insulted if it takes a day or something for a response. It's just, we've got lives as well as you.
All right. So we got your Messenger and then your ProBooth Talk podcast. Is there anywhere else that you're on that people can learn more about you or follow you?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, Apple Music or Spotify or iHeart Music, wherever podcasts are broadcast, you can join in. We're also on YouTube if you'd rather watch us. You can also go to a browser and listen along at proboothtalk.com. We have Instagram and TikTok, but it's more of just here's what the next episode is, go watch it kind of thing. That there's not much information there other than reminding people that we exist and to come join us.
All right, Photobooth fam, that's a wrap for the very first episode of the Photobooth CEO podcast. Always remember, I am here for you guys. If you've got questions, comments, or just want to share your photo booth stories, drop it in the comments below and I will be sure to reply. We're building a community of people who value community over competition. Click on the description below to join our Photobooth CEO Facebook group. If you want to see more of these types of videos, hit that like button, subscribe for more photo booth business goodness. Check out ProBooth Talk YouTube channel and our Photobooth CEO YouTube channel for even more strategies to help you build profitable and purposeful businesses. Until next time, Photobooth fam, keep booking and keep winning.